My name is Harley Patterson, and this presentation is on learning theories. The following section is an overview of theories and strategies. Verbal learning is a theory presented by Hermann Ebbinghaus. Verbal learning theory focuses on the repetition of material. The more material is repeated, the more likely it is that students will be able to recall the information at a later date. Structuralism was first presented by Edward B. Titchener. This theory focuses on introspection to help create structure within the brain. Looking inside oneself to understand and compartmentalize new information is incredibly beneficial to understanding. However, this theory is highly contested and has few practical applications because we have found over the years that the brain cannot actually compartmentalize information in this manner. Connectionism is a theory presented by Edward Thorndike that emphasizes creating associations between new and old information. This process involves the creation of schema to create a map of sorts with prior knowledge in order to understand the new information being gathered. Classical conditioning is credited to Ivan Pavlov, the scientist who discovered that he could condition dogs to salivate at the sound of a bell by associating the bell with food. This theory indicates that learners are capable of being conditioned to respond to certain stimuli with conditioned responses. The theory includes starting with an unconditioned stimulus and unconditioned response, such as introducing food and receiving a salivation response. Over time, the learner becomes conditioned to respond to a stimulus, such as a bell, with a conditioned response, such as salivation or, in class, attention. Contiguous conditioning from Edwin R. Guthrie emphasizes the formation of habits through the repetition of behaviors in similar or same situations. By performing the same behaviors in the same scenarios, learners form habits that can be either good or bad in the classroom. For instance, repetitive behaviors that are beneficial to student learning, such as completing work independently and turning it in, are incredibly helpful habits. On the contrary, repetitive behaviors that are detrimental to student learning, such as acting up in class, are bad habits. B.F. Skinner proposed the use of reinforcement and punishment in his operant conditioning theory. Reinforcement includes positive and negative reinforcement. Positive reinforcement is the addition of a stimulus to encourage positive behavior, such as giving a child candy for doing what's expected. Negative reinforcement is the removal of a stimulus to encourage positive behavior, such as taking away a distracting object in the classroom. Punishment can also be both positive and negative. Positive punishment is the addition of a stimulus to discourage negative behavior, such as spraying a cat with a water bottle to stop it from scratching. Negative punishment is the removal of a stimulus to discourage negative behavior, such as taking away a cell phone from a belligerent teenager. Albert Bandura promoted the social learning theory through his Bobo doll experiment. Learners learn from their environment through their exposure. Social learning theory includes 4 elements: attention, memory, imitation, and motivation. Learners must first be paying attention to the environment, be it a teacher or an actual living example. Learners then must process what they see or experience into their memory, and then imitate the behavior. But this imitation only occurs with some sense of motivation. This section addresses classroom implication of these theories. Through the implementation of these theories, we can shape the learning process for our students. Teachers should have students actively involved in the learning process to help them connect the material to prior knowledge. In addition, teachers must ensure that students are engaged and paying attention to the tasks at hand in order to promote recall And finally, students must be motivated, either intrinsically or extrinsically, to truly learn the material and be able to use it later on. In the recall stage of learning, it is essential that we give students the opportunity to practice and repeat the material. We must also be motivators for our students and encourage them along the way. We also have to ensure that we are giving our students opportunity to retry the tasks with which they have been previously unsuccessful. We must give them feedback and let them build upon what they already have. In summary, we must use these theories to guide our practice in the classroom, and we need to modify our approaches to instruction based on psychological learning theory. In order to do best by our students, we have to take into consideration the actual science behind the brain processes.